So welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us joining me either this evening or on catch up. So tonight I'm going to run you through the first of there's actually 8 trainings that I'm going to be doing over the next 8 weeks. We may have a break over Christmas and then restart in the new year. But I just wanted to really share with you a little bit about doTERRA's business model and what I've done so far in terms of getting to the place I'm at now, and see if any of you are interested in becoming either a leader or a sharer of the oils. So we shall move forward. So why do I do what I do? I think probably most of you know my story, that 3 years ago I was suffering really quite severe anxiety and stress, and that had been building up for a number of years. Suffered really bad headaches and lived on ibuprofen and paracetamol. Also suffered from recurring throat infections. So basically my immune system was at an all-time low. And I decided that I wanted to try and combat my symptoms and look for a natural solution, really. And my friend, Susie, who you'll probably all meet at some point or another, if you haven't already, introduced me to doTERRA, and I'll always be super grateful for her for that, because it really has changed my life and changed the way we live as a family. And so I'd been using the oils for 2 years and sort of flirted around the business idea at different points along the way, but it had never really been the right time for me to sort of jump in with 2 feet. But I definitely started to share the oils in those 2 years, and got my family, sisters and mum and everybody else into the oils. And then I was at a bit of a crossroads last autumn, and I thought, you know what, actually, people really need to know about that these oils exist, because they really are remarkable, and they really do offer a solution for us to live more natural lives, and for us to self-medicate and to take reliance off the NHS, which is obviously an incredible resource that we're very lucky to have in this country, but it's also on its knees. And I thought, you know what a lovely thing to be able to do, to share my knowledge and to empower other people to have a little bit of what I have managed to achieve within our own family. So I started doing some training towards the end of last year and launched my doTERRA business in January, and really haven't looked back since that point, and I absolutely love it. And hand on heart, what I can say is doTERRA is such a fulfilling role to have in your life. And the team that I'm part of are such a wonderful group of mainly women. There's a couple of guys on there, but mainly women. And having come from the world of interior design, where everybody is so out for what they can get, and so sort of fickle and superficial, to come and be embraced into this just warm, enveloping group of ladies who are so sharing and so giving with their information, and it's just so refreshing and so lovely to be part of it. And so now I am at a turning point, really, in terms of wanting to try and grow other people in the way that I've grown in this last year. And it's definitely been a journey, but it's been a really enjoyable one. So hopefully we're going to take you along for a bit of the ride of that. So a little bit really about why we may want to share the oils, and something that I feel really strongly about is that I think I had quite a big hang up about doing doTERRA as a business, because I thought, oh, it's sales, and I'm not quite sure about that. But what I kind of changed in my mindset with that is I flipped it on its head, and yes, it is sales, but equally what you're really doing is giving people an education and giving them a knowledge that there is a natural alternative out there that can often really, really help with different conditions that we're suffering with. And without having that knowledge, people don't have the choice to make decisions whether they're going to stick on their pharmaceutical medicine or stick in their routine that they're currently doing. so that kind of drives me forward every day. That drives me forward to share about these oils and to share the knowledge that I've learned over the last few years with other people, to give them the choice in terms of which road they want to travel down. And if it's down the road with me, then I'm here to support them as much as I possibly can. So for me, doTERRA is definitely a passion project. It's something I'm in for the long game, and I have got faith that this business is going to build and build and build. I've got such faith in the company, which I'm going to go on to talk about a little bit more in a minute. But I know that this, for me, is going to be involved in my life for the next, well, I can't imagine it not being involved in my life, to be honest with you. And I'm pretty sure that as it builds and grows, I'm pretty sure it's what's going to pay for my children to go to university. And hopefully, maybe they'll even start to do what I do, who knows. So there was a couple of facts last year that also shocked the living daylights out of me. And that was our next generation are predicted to live shorter lives than we are in our generation. And I just thought, how can that be? And it's basically because of the way we're living and the choices that we're making in life. So that's another reason why I wanted to share as much as I can about doTERRA and about the lovely oils, so that people can make choices in life and hopefully help people to understand how we're living and to live healthier lives. So, for some reason that's going. Okay, so this is the 8 weeks that I've got planned for you. So tonight's all about getting started. Week 2 will be about sampling safely and effectively without using tons and tons of your oils. Week 3 is going to be the doTERRA compensation plan. So just how you earn money from doTERRA. And one thing to reassure you is that you can actually earn money really, really quickly with doTERRA. Not a lot, but you can earn money really quickly. Week 4 will be the back office training. So some of you have got accounts, all of you have got accounts actually. So you all are a little bit familiar with the back office in doTERRA. Week 5 is going to be how to organise a successful doTERRA class. Don't freak out. I'm not going to put that on you that you've all got to organise your own class yet. And if you decide that's something that you'd like to do in the future, my role would be to support you and to do that with you. Week 6 is what is a wellness consultation. So this is where we have a one-to-one. You all will have had that with me at some point, where we go through your expectations of the oils and check that you know what you're doing with them. So I'm just going to talk through what the ethos is behind that and what we should be trying to achieve from that. Week 7 is about placement. So this is about our doTERRA structure, our business structure. And week 8 is a bit of a recap and hopefully getting you ready to go. Okay, so doTERRA is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It really isn't. I've been working on this part-time, admittedly, and to be fair, it never really feels like work because it's so enjoyable. I've been working on this now for 10 months, and I'm now earning a reasonable amount for part-time work. But I can also see my business building and building, and I know that that is the business model. You don't earn very much to start with, but I certainly earn enough to cover my oils and a bit extra on top of that. And so I'm quite happy with that, and I know that it's going to grow moving forward, so that's fine. doTERRA is not always easy, but it is most of the time fun. And it's not a hobby. So what I mean by that is that you can do this for as many hours as you've got during the week. That might be 1 hour, it might be 16 hours, it might be 30 hours. And that's fine. You can do doTERRA part-time for sure. But what you can't do is treat it as a hobby. So you can't be in it 1 week and then not do anything for 6 months and then pick it up again. So there is a level of commitment that is involved from you if you're going to take this seriously. doTERRA is incredibly rewarding and fulfilling. It is a truly lovely supportive community. So I've already mentioned there about the team that I'm in, which in turn means your team as well. And they are just such a lovely bunch. And in there, you've got sort of trained aromatherapists, you've got nutritionists. And so there's always somebody that you can ask advice for if you've got, I don't know, maybe you've got a customer with a specific ailment and you're not quite sure what to recommend to them. And you can always ask someone in the team, and they're so giving with their information. It's amazing. doTERRA is also an opportunity to work as many or as little hours as you have to give. So it's about finding pockets of time. So for me, I work 2 to 3 days a week as well, running marketing for a drinks company. So doTERRA has to fit around that, and it has to fit around my family life, and it certainly does. And you just find time. You find time wherever you can to make this business happen and to make this business work for you, and that's the lovely thing about it. And doTERRA is certainly a huge, huge opportunity. The business itself has grown from being launched in 2008. Actually, I'll go on to the next slide for this. So you can see here a little bit about doTERRA's growth. So this is 2008, and this is, actually it's a bit old because this is 7 years, and actually the company is now 11 years old. So in 7 years, it grew to $1 billion business, which is huge. This is doTERRA's trajectory, and this grey line here is actually Apple's trajectory. So they followed the same growth path as Apple, and that has continued to grow. So it's now more like a $3 billion business. The lovely thing about doTERRA is they didn't come up with an idea of creating a business and then thinking about what product they were going to use to fulfill that business. At the heart of doTERRA is the product, and that comes through time and time again with what they offer to us as wellness advocates and what they offer to their customers. It's always about the product, and it's always about people, and that is just amazing. So doTERRA is still owned by its original founders. It's privately owned. It doesn't have any shareholders. It doesn't have any debt. And that's really important, because if you're going to invest your time into building a business, you don't want to do that with a company that might go pop in a few years' time because it's got insolvable debts. And you also, the important thing about not having shareholders as well is that the founders still control what happens with the company. It's a very philanthropic company. So they give a lot, they make a lot of money, but they give a lot of money back to do good in the world, which is really, again, it's remarkable to be part of a business like that. So I'm going to, oh, my internet connection is unstable. Hopefully you can all still hear me. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about that in a future training, but just a bit of a background really of doTERRA and what a lovely company they are to work for and work with. So how do you get started? I love this slide because the secret to getting ahead is getting started. So it's really, and that's by an American author called Mark Twain. So it's really nothing complicated about this. Without making a start, you're not going to get started. So don't worry about things, don't fret about things, just start to go through the steps that I'm going to lay out for you one by one, and before you know it, you will have started. So 6 keys to success at the beginning. I can't stress this enough. We've got to all be living the product. So without living the product, we can't be passionate about the product, and we can't educate people about the product because it's not coming from our hearts. So absolutely, step 1, which you're all doing in a way, all of you on this call, is to live the product. Learn the basics of the products in the business. That's what I'm going to guide you through, so don't worry too much about that. Sample a lot. So this is going to come in the next few weeks. I'm going to teach you how you can safely share your oils and cost effectively share them as well. And what happens from sampling basically is that you offer, I mean, you're probably already doing it, to be fair, because I know I was, but I didn't really know how to, and I was certainly giving away a lot of my oils. you just can't help share them because you know that they are going to help your friends or family. So what I want to teach you is how to do that cost effectively, and how to follow up with people, and how to turn that then into hopefully some business really for you guys, so that it's going to cover the cost of your oils minimum and hopefully grow into something more than that. Attend trainings. So this is going to be online and live. There's going to be my 8-week program. And then we also have a monthly training with our team, which I'll invite you all to as and when. It's normally the first week of the month. And that's with our lovely upline, Emily and Tim, who are just gorgeous and so generous as well. And then there will be live events that I'll also share with you guys. So that's run by doTERRA Corporate. Okay, invest in personal development. So this might be reading a few pages of a book about essential oils. It might be listening to a podcast. It might be researching about a particular oil that you're not sure about. It can be as little or as long as you've got to give, but just do something daily. And really what I ask of you all is just some commitment and to keep going. And if you're struggling with anything, I'm here, and I'm here to help you all. Okay, so the success cycle. So I would say you are probably all in this sort of purple area at the moment. You're using the oils, you're living them, and possibly you're moving into the more blue section of sharing them. So this is just really about the success cycle of doTERRA, and how, as long as you continue to go through this cycle, you'll do really well at this business and this opportunity, because it's about people and it's about caring. So long as you're being honest with that and true, you'll do well. So I'd say I'm sort of now in this stage and the orange stage, which I'm really enjoying, but it also comes full circle, and I still use the product, I still live the product, I still share the product, I still send samples to people. So it's quite simple. Okay, so habits. So let's talk about daily habits. You've probably all started now to develop your daily habits with doTERRA. So it might be having lemon in your water in the morning. It might be taking your lifelong vitality supplements. It might be having lavender at nighttime before you go to bed. But you are gradually starting to change your daily habits and routines to introduce more and more of natural resources and natural products. So that's really important. And the more you can do that and the more you can incorporate, the more passionate you're going to become about these amazing, lovely oils. So daily, use the products, personal development, listen to a podcast or read a chapter of a good book, and try and this is probably for slightly later on, but try and think about contacts that you know that you think might enjoy using the oils, and start to make a little bit of a list. Weekly, do some product training. So there's so much available online for doTERRA products, and there's so many podcasts and all sorts of things. I've got so many resources that I can share with you, depending on how hungry you are for them, and just keep going with it. And then eventually, monthly, when you are up and running, if you decide to go with this as business, aim to run a couple of classes a month. So those might be live classes that you do. It might be a class that's that you're doing for a friend, which you call a host class. It might just be a one-to-one where you're going to meet a friend for coffee and talking about the oils and going through them. But gradually, you'll build up a network of people, and people will watch you, and people will be really intrigued to see your journey. And that's why we've got to be really true in terms of what we're practicing, what we're preaching, I guess. Okay, so what do you need to get started with this business? So there's lots of business opportunities out there that involve quite a high investment with doTERRA to get started with becoming a wellness advocate, we recommend that you have a Home Essentials kit. Really, that's because in the Home Essentials kit, you've got the larger bottles, so you've got the 15 ml size bottles of those 10 core oils, and you've also got the diffuser. So in there, you're going to have something to go to for every ailment, but that's going to be really important to have those bottles for sharing with other people, for sampling, and also for running classes eventually. So most of you have got that kit. If you haven't, there is 20% off this kit this month until the end of November. So that's insanely good value. It's £191 plus postage and packaging until the end of November. And that offer only happens once a year. Or it has done anyway. So yeah, you need to have your oils, and the reason you need to have your oils is because you need to be living the product and you need to hopefully be sharing. Other really useful things for you guys. So I have this Modern Essentials book, which is brilliant. It's such a good resource. I bought that really quickly after I bought my first Home Essentials kit 3.5 years ago. And I use that daily. I think I refer to it all the time. And it's also a lovely thing to take and show in classes or in wellness consultations. So I'd highly recommend you purchasing one of those. You can buy some editions. I've got, what's my edition now? I've got the 9th edition, which looks like that. And I think it's actually up to the 10th edition now. You can buy some of them on Amazon, or this website here, essentialoilsupplies.co.uk, is amazing. You can buy everything that you possibly might need for running a doTERRA business through that website. And there's also a company called Baldwin's, and they're quite good for the little tiny sample vials. So you can see those in the bottom right. So you can purchase those from essentialoilsupplies.co.uk. That's where I normally get mine. And it's about, I think they're about £15 for 70. So it's not crazy money. And the lovely thing about those is you can just put sort of a few drops of your oil in, and then some of them we top up with fractionated coconut oil. And you're not using much of your oil to offer somebody a little sample and an experience of doTERRA. So those are a really vital piece of equipment, but I'm going to go into that more next week when we talk about sampling. Okay, the other thing is, and this is going to come a little bit down the line for some of you, the loyalty rewards program. So some of you may already be on this. The loyalty rewards program is an amazing scheme for customers, and it's how we earn points back from purchasing our products, and those points turn into more free products, which are great. In order to do the business, you're not tied in, you're not committed to doing any spend, but to qualify for commission, you do have to do a spend of 100 PV per month. That works out at about £80. And the reason doTERRA insist on that is because they believe if we're not doing that spend, we're not living the product and we're not sharing the product, which I totally agree with. And actually, you can really quickly, hopefully, when we launch you properly, you can really quickly cover the cost of that spend through the commissions that you earn, which I'll go into at a later training. But since January, I've never had to spend that money. I've never had to buy that monthly purchase out of my own money. It's always come from the commission that I earn. So for example, in my basket every month, there's always the Lifelong Vitality supplements because I find them amazing, and normally an oil or two. And it's great that I don't have to pay for those because they really help me in life. So you will all have your accounts, mydoterra.com, which is where we log on, and we'll go into more training about that at a later date. If you order over 125 PV before the 15th of the month, you get the free product of the month as well. So that's just a bit of a recap there. So what do we need to be representing when we are representing doTERRA? And this is also what we need to try and educate people on, because the oils are amazing, But if we don't have these other things in place, then we're going to struggle to really see much radical improvement. So this is what we need to encourage and help our customers with as well. So it's about eating right. And with that, it's sort of sourcing the right food and making sure we're eating good quality food and sort of a nice range of vitamins and minerals within our meals, plenty of fresh, healthy foods. It's about exercising, because everybody needs to move and everybody needs to exercise in some shape or form. Resting and managing stress. Now, I'd say in the classes that I teach, and mainly women that I come across, this is like the absolute key to people trying to get more in control of how they're feeling and their emotions and their anxiety and their stress. Because at the moment we're trying to do so many things as women and as mothers, and we're normally putting ourselves at the bottom of the pile. So it's also trying to encourage people that we deserve more than that, and we need to give ourselves more time to rest, and that's fine. It's not being selfish, it is a necessity, because when we break, everything breaks down. So that's something that I'm hugely passionate about, in trying to ensure I install a little bit of that in my customers as well. And then the next thing is reducing toxic load. So again, another subject that is really, really close to my heart. So this is where doTERRA has been an incredible portal for me. So when I first started with doTERRA, I was using goodness knows what to clean my house. I think back to when my children were tiny, and I was certainly bleaching my floors and doing all sorts of horrible things, because we've become accustomed in this world to think that unless we're using millions of cleaning products on our home, we're not going to have a clean home to live in. And it's just such a load of tosh. It's not true. So I love teaching people about the fact that we can use the oils to green clean as well, and how amazing do they smell, and how much of a pleasure does it make cleaning. And just, again, it comes down to that education, because until people understand that and understand how dangerous and how bad the majority of the cleaning products that we can purchase are, they don't know that they're doing damage, and they don't know that they're doing something so harmful to themselves and to their family. So again, that's just something that I feel really, really passionate about. Okay, and then informed self-care. So that's what we're also educating about, that actually there's an alternative. We don't have to be pill popping. And a lot of people are really desperate now, because they go to the doctors, and so many people come away dissatisfied with what solutions the doctors are able to offer them, that they're really, really searching. They're searching for a more natural solution, or for something that works. And that's what we've got. We've got that. And that's what we need to share with people. Okay, and then proactive medical care. So just understanding how our bodies work better, and trying to get ourselves back to a place of homeostasis, where we understand what's happening within our own bodily systems, and not always masking things, and not always masking over symptoms. Okay, we have to be quite careful when we are educating about doTERRA. doTERRA as a company will support us and will back us 100% of the way. But we do have to be careful in terms of the language that we use, and that is ensuring that we're being compliant. So it's really protecting doTERRA against making any claims, any huge claims that the oils prevent or treat or cure. So we tend to use words like support, or this oil can help with. And of course, we know that the oils can do a lot more than that, but we just have to be a little bit careful with our terminology. I'm not quite so strict on this when I'm doing a live class, but certainly if I do any kind of social media lives or write anything about the oils, then it's something that I really try and manage how I describe the oils. Okay, so doTERRA does not prevent, treat, or cure. lifestyle prevents disease. So this is what we're going back to, that wellness pyramid here. So it's a holistic approach. We need to be teaching people about diet, exercise, rest, stress management, and toxic exposure, because those are all the triggers that that cause critical illness, basically, and unfortunately, it's how the majority of this country is living at the moment. Okay, doctors treat symptoms and fix broken parts. So obviously, the oils can't fix everything, and sometimes people do need to go to the doctors, and I always try and also emphasize how lucky we are to have the NHS, because we are, and it is incredible, but we need to become less reliant on it for the day-to-day ailments, and that's where we can help people with that. And the other thing is, the body actually cures disease and heals itself, so that the oils enable the body to fix itself effectively, which again is amazing. So there's more information on the doTERRA website, which is a great place to look for more resource on all sorts of things. Okay, has anyone got any questions? I'll just take a breath for a moment. I just don't think I've seen anything pop up in the chat, but if you've got any questions at all, then unmute yourselves and shout. Otherwise, we'll carry on. So some of the key things to learn, oh, hang on, let's see. Okay, everyone's all right, that's cool. So some of the key things that we're going to, that I'm going to get you guys to learn in the next week or two, and hopefully you may have a little bit of an awareness of some of these, but what is an essential oil? It's really key to understand that so that we can educate about them. The basics of CPTG, the sourcing and the testing. So CPTG stands for Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade. And that's doTERRA's testing process that every single oil goes through. So it's about 30 different tests to ensure that there's no contamination, to ensure that the chemical composition is correct. And it's really, really important. And that's done by doTERRA in-house, but it's also done, carried out by a third-party testing house as well. And that's basically what stands doTERRA apart from so many other essential oil companies in the world. The 3 ways to apply the oils: aromatic, topically, and internally. And the internal use is really specific to doTERRA. Health and safety. Okay, so I'm going to suggest a little bit of homework for everybody. I've got a recorded webinar, and I do talk quite a lot about these subjects in my live classes and also in my online webinars. So I'm going to suggest that you all have a bit of a recap by watching that, and also by doing a bit of your own research, and I'm going to point you in the direction of and some good places to look for that. So yeah, we can find lots of resource on the doTERRA website, and also in the introduction section of the Modern Essentials book that I showed you earlier. Okay, so that nicely brings us on to homework. So as already mentioned, watch my recorded webinar, which I shall post in the Facebook group, or I'm also doing a Facebook Live series at the moment, so some of you may have seen that, where I'm trying to teach a class spread over about 12 days. So it's going into the difference of doTERRA, CPTG, and the ways of using doTERRA, how they work in our body, and then talking about the 10 core oils. So if you'd rather sort of watch short snippets, then that might be easier for you. Spend some time looking at the doTERRA website. There is so much information on there. There's some amazing ebooks, so I'd suggest having a look at some of those this week. There's an intro to essential oils. There's literally about 10 or 15 ebooks, which are totally free, amazing resources for us to go and reach for. And I want you to get inspired this week. I hope that this call is inspiring you. And I hope you can feel my energy and my passion for doTERRA and for what I do, because I really want you guys to feel that, and I want you guys to be part of that, and to allow yourself to feel inspired, to feel inspired, in fact. And the other thing that I really love doing is listening to podcasts. So I've posted a couple of podcasts in the group already. There's two amazing doTERRA leaders. One is a Canadian called Whole Fit, Ange Peters. So her name's Ange Peters, and her doTERRA kind of website and everything else is Whole Fit. So it's HOL:fit. And then Ange Peters is an Australian leader, and she's Ange Peters. It's been a long day. So she's Ange Peters, Whole Fit is Ange Peters, and Alice Nichols is an Australian leader, and she has a podcast called All Rise Up. And I've put both of those in the group. But once you listen to one, you just want to keep listening to more and more, because they're so inspiring and so knowledgeable. So they're great. And I just wanted to reassure you all, really, that I'm here to help you and your customers. So eventually, hopefully, you guys are going to get your own customers going. And don't feel worried about that. Don't feel like nervous about how you're going to support them, because that's my job, to help and support you and your customers. And everybody goes at this business in a different way. Everybody has a different take on it. Everybody has a different amount of time to offer. But what I can promise you is, if you want to walk, I will walk with you. If you want to run, I'll run with you. I'm totally guided by what you are wanting to do and what your kind of limitations are on time. So you just let me know about that. If you're unsure about anything, please just ask me. I'm here to help. I can't stress that enough. And this is a little saying that I just love to refer to, and something I remind myself time and time again: if nothing changes, then nothing will change. So if we're dissatisfied with our life and we carry on doing the same thing over and over again, nothing's going to change. There's not somebody going to come along and wave a magic wand and just all of a sudden change the way we're living, or what's making you unhappy in your life. We've got to take control of that, and we've got to empower ourselves to navigate this path and be happy with it and do something that you enjoy and that you love. So hopefully maybe doTERRA is that for you as well. Okay, so that, in a nutshell, is our first week. I think I am going to stop the recording, and then we can see if anybody has got any questions.